Well, welcome to the podcast of Brothers of Many Words. I am your host, King RP. I am life. I am energy. I am the possibility of what comes next. Moving with purpose, speaking with power, and becoming more every day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I am your co-host, King Mackie, better known as Haru the Great. Call me necessary.
Awesome. I'm your co-host King Christopher. I'm here to recognize truth, evaluate the path, leverage knowledge and discipline, and implement change through action.
I am your producer, King Nick. I am a dedicated police officer committed to integrity, accountability, and service. I believe in treating everyone with fairness and respect while working to protect the community, uphold the law, and build trust through professionalism and compassion.
Right
Outstanding,
I
on.
like
outstanding,
that. I like that. I
outstanding.
liked it.
King Mac, hit us with that affirmation.
Hey, affirmation for Brother Many Words is we stand together as brothers, united in purpose and grounded in respect. We move with love, speak with clarity, and carry peace. No ego, no division, only growth. Each voice matters. Together we build something greater. We are aligned, we are ready. Peace in our energy, power in our unity, and purpose in our message. It is done.
It
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 is
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 done.
done.
done. It is done. Again, welcome to the podcast of Brothers of Many Words. This is open mic where real conversations meet real perspective. No scripts, no limits, just truth, growth, and elevation. We're here to challenge minds, expand thinking, and build something greater. I'm just going to hit us with a few words here of aspiration, real quick. Self-reflection. Self-reflection is one of life's most honest mirrors. It shows you not who you pretend to be, but who you are becoming in real time through your choices, wounds, habits, and responses. Real life experience teaches that growth rarely arrives with comfort. It comes when you pause, face yourself without excuses, and learn from what your struggles reveal. The soul deepens when truth is welcome, and life begins to change the moment you become willing to truly see yourself clearly and compassionately. I love that one.
That's
Oh,
good. That's
yes,
That,
good
that
yes,
is that
words.
yes,
is a
yes,
good one.
yes, yes.
I love that one.
Yeah.
How are my kings doing on this beautiful day today?
Loving life, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Always loving life, but it's just so much going on. It's so much going
It
on.
is
Amen,
so much.
brother. Amen. Preach it.
It's
It
so
is.
much, I got a quick little topic, and I'm from Texas, and they had that trial the last couple of days with I believe the Metcalf young man and
Uh-huh.
her brothers and Kamala Anthony,
Yeah,
Mr.
Camelo.
Anthony and
Yes.
Camelo Anthony, and so from what I understand, Anthony got 35 years in prison for stabbing one of the Metcalf brothers in the chest.
Right.
He claimed a self-defense, but was denied that. Um, it's just a lot, and it's kind of racially divided people as
Mm-hmm.
always. You know what I'm saying? And people don't really look at facts; they just look at color a lot of times. We as a certain colored person, you're supposed to be on this side because of what that happened or who that is, and just ignore the facts. You know what I mean? And we know in the court of law, I mean, there's always what is proven. I mean, it's always what the attorney can prove. It ain't even the fact that the jury looked at the situation and said, oh yeah, he's guilty because he is a black young man and considered aggressive. But I believe they have to look at the facts. But he did have an all white jury, which people are criticizing that. And I don't know how true it is, but the father was in cahoots with the judge, supposedly. But pictures and things get around on Facebook. You really don't know what's totally accurate at all.
Mm-mm.
But I just seeing if you guys had heard anything about it,
That
and
brings
what are your
up
thoughts?
that brings up a great saying I learned early in my career, and that is believe none of what you hear and half of what you see.
Mm, mm, it's
That
valid.
that has stayed with me for a long time just because you do I think we actually talked about this last week. These news people only want to show bits and pieces of it, and
Sure.
you're
Hmm.
not getting
Right.
the full
Oh,
story. And same with if they're allowing the court to film it like they did, they're not showing that whole 8 hour
That's right.
Right.
cross examine it.
Right.
You're
That's
getting
right.
the snippets of what they're like, oh man, this is going to get us great views,
Hmm.
but they didn't
Hmm.
what was the previous 4 questions before that brought up. So
Right.
um
Right.
I'm torn between it because I'm one of the people that I would love to see everything, sunshine, everything, and be able to watch it for
Mhm.
myself and then make a determination from there.
Right. Right.
So what
I feel you.
exactly? I haven't heard about this case in Texas. So what exactly is this case about?
So they were at a track meet, and the I can't remember the kid's name that passed away. What was his name? Can anybody recall
It
his
was.
name?
I think it was Austin. Austin
So
Metcalf.
Austin,
So Austin Metcalf. So initially came out that that Camelo had picked somehow I guess it had something to do with his phone, and Melo more or less had started the altercation, and then they got into it, and then Camelo had stabbed Austin. That was the initial thing. So of course there was complete outrage over that. Well, as time went on, then more the truth, if you will, started to come out. So it was more or less, that Austin, he has a twin brother. And so him and his twin brothers, from what they say, these are not my words, what I hear, that they were bullies. They were bullies. And Austin at that time shouldn't have, from my understanding, have been suspended from school. So he shouldn't have even been at the track meet.
And Austin's
Oh,
the
I
one that
didn't
got
hear that.
stabbed, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh,
And
I didn't even
so-
hear that.
And so that I believe they say Austin had took Camelo's phone, and Camelo wanted his phone back, and then and he got stabbed, and Camelo put out a knife, or however they went, and he stabbed him. And so there's so many different stories as to what Nick was just saying. It's tragedy on both sides, no matter how you cut it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
you're not just changing one family's life for the loss.
Oh, yes.
You've got the victim, the suspect. You've got
Right.
How
the
old were
community.
these boys?
16.
16.
Yeah.
They were
15,
young.
16. Yeah.
They were young.
Oh, so they're committing a 16-year-old to 35 years in prison.
35
years. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think he's older than that because he was about ready to graduate. I think they said he had
Oh yeah,
because they
This
let
was
him
last
graduate.
And
That's right. This was
Austin,
last
and
year.
Austin's the one that started the fight. He's the one that
Well,
That's what it was alleged.
Yeah.
right, yeah. So the most recent thing I heard this morning, I read an article about it, was that it was pouring rain, and you have team tents, right? So Anthony, who is the black kid, right?
No, don't tell me who's black or white. I just want to know their names.
Okay. Anthony runs into an opposing track meets tent, okay? But he knew a kid there named Eddie, and Eddie and Anthony were friends. They had spent some time together. So Anthony is in the tent with Anthony's in the tent with Eddie. They're having a conversation, and then 4 guys, including twin brothers and 2 of their friends, come into the tent and notice that Anthony's there. And again, he's an opposing school, right? And so Anthony starts to kind of criticize the football team, which of course I believe Austin is the captain of, right? And so there's some type of conflict when it comes to that. And then so Austin begins to tell Anthony he needs to leave the tent because this is not his school tent. He says, it's pouring rain outside. I'm not leaving. Nobody else has a problem with me being here. And so Austin gets in his face, and the other 3 gentlemen step up as well too. Anthony puts his hand in his backpack and states that if you move any closer to me or touch me, there's going to be consequences. Well, of course, Austin, I believe, pushes him, and then Anthony stabs him like in the chest. And so, but there's some video that was supposedly being out. There's also some talk about how the 2 other friends distracted the coach and security guard so the 2 brothers can go in and kind of bully Anthony. There's some information, but again, and I read the police report from the first responding officer, and there's not a lot of information in that. He basically gets a call, runs across to the stadium. Doesn't really at that moment does not interview any witnesses, is basically just concerned about the situation itself.
You know what, that was the initial story, what you just said. Now that you said that's when it first came out, that's exactly the initial thing that came out, one of the stories that came out, what you just described.
And Anthony was the one that did the stabbing.
He was the one that did the stabbing.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So the
Man, it
question
sounds
is,
like, that's a hard situation
Yes.
because you don't know if Austin, if he had a weapon that was shown, maybe he pulled. I mean, because I know for me, if someone just randomly came up to me and started bullying and pushed me, I'm gonna fight back.
Sure.
Like
Right.
I'm a first always
Yeah.
try to leave. But if they chase me down and like if I have a knife on me, I'm gonna use it.
Yeah,
Sure.
there's again, there's the points about that. Austin, it's 4 guys against one. The Austin brothers were big guys, and we know as law enforcement officers that we can escalate a situation, right, based upon the size of the guy or the number of people. You know what I mean? And so but that's not always the case as a civilian, But yeah, I'm with Chris and with all you guys, it's just traumatic all the way around. I mean,
is.
for each family. So
I mean, it
I
sounds
just
from what you've told me, my opinion is I don't think he deserves 35 years. I don't agree with that.
yeah, it could have been a manslaughter. I mean, they could have, but even the fact that our prison system is not built to support,
Yeah.
A certain
you
kind of
bring-
situation.
Yeah.
yeah, not bring you back in society as as a righteous person. I mean, it's going to make you even worse when you went in.
Now you two,
so.
Mac and Nick, you guys have worked in the field. I'm sure you've come across similar things like this. Ever? Have you?
Yeah. I mean, I have. Yeah.
What's your opinion on this thing?
I mean, it's too early.
have
to
all the
tell.
evidence.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
you
saying.
really
It's too
don't-
too.
yeah.
I mean, think about how many people they have to technically interview in that situation, and
Right.
then you got to sift through probably. Let's just give a good number of 100 statements. You got to sift through every single one of them and see. You're going to break it down to what the individual said, and then you're going to put it in a group that corroborates with one of the other 100 people that said almost something similar, and then you're going to have to break these different groups down and say, okay, well, we have more that say like this, but then you're going to have to take in a factor of who was whose friends, and it's just too early to tell at this point. I mean, I really can't give anything. If I had the evidence in front of me, I can sit down and look at the case and make a determination in my opinion, but I just don't have enough right now.
So who is the dark-skinned cat and who is the light-skinned cat in this?
Anthony, dark skin. Yeah. Camelo Anthony was dark skinned and the Metcalf brothers were light skinned. So yeah, I'm with it. I mean, it's it's just a sad situation. Like I would, why do you have a knife at school? Why do you have a knife in your backpack?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's some factors,
Yes.
Why do you feel like but
I mean, I went to high school with a pocket knife in my jeans.
That was different age, Chris.
Yeah,
So I
just-
mean, think
yeah,
about it. It's
yeah.
different age,
That's
It is. Yeah.
We used to fight
Yeah.
back then. We used to fight back then if we got down to it.
And
Now
I
it's-
did-
right.
I got in a few squabbles with guys, but I never
But
thought it never came across my mind to pull my
these
knife.
kids these days are scared to fight because I mean they rather
Exactly.
just because really
Good
that's
point.
just the
That's-
fear. That's the
that's-
fear.
That's a good
fear.
point.
Yeah, all of us, we've been in backyard fighting, bruh.
Yeah.
And we see the kid at school, we sort of, hey, what's up, bro? What's up? And we keep on moving. I never felt the need to like, you know what, I lost. I'm finna stab this.
Right.
Dude. I'm finna go to prison for the rest of my life.
Because I
and
think
stab
we
this
were
dude because I was embarrassed.
more physically confident than the kids are today.
Well, and listen. guns
Well,
were
I
not-
know. I was
Well,
pretty
guns were not a
ignorant.
factor back then. Guns were not so big of a factor back then. Now you don't know. I mean, there's
No, we had
Right.
guns. We brought guns on the
But
school
you know
property.
what I mean? Like
Hey.
as far as with our age group, nobody
Yeah.
had to worry about somebody. Oh, I know he's got a gun. No, I'm not. We didn't have to worry about that. It would just get
Right.
down and let's get with it. Now that's not the case because you got knives, but now you also got guns, and they have proven that they don't give a damn. That
I think me and Nicholas might have been the last age group.
Oh, 100%.
'cause I remember in high school, like we could bring guns in our truck because we were
Yeah,
hunters.
we had them on. We had them in our back glass.
Yeah.
It was we
Roof
just
racks. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. They
We
had
never-
classes. In Missouri, they had classes where you brought your gun to class,
Mhm. They're actually bringing
for
that back.
range.
Yeah.
I heard. That's where I
Mhm.
heard that.
Yeah.
So I mean, and but yeah, these kids are just not built like us, and a lot of, and you know what? I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer, right? I know people criticize this, but music is a psychological, issue that we have, and so when you got so-called wannabe gang members on there saying take them out, add them to your list, do this, get marks on your belt. you know, it that influences these kids out here. Even
Oh,
though
yeah.
even though these guys who are rapping about it never lived that life at all,
Nah.
never lived
Yeah.
their life at all. But yet again, it's like NWA. You know what I'm saying? The only real thug in NWA
Bro,
was
listen,
Eazy-E.
I was getting ready to bring
Eazy-E.
that up. He was the
I
only
mean,
Yeah.
even
And
most
then-
of our
and then
music.
even in the movie,
Yes.
they portrayed him as nobody, and he was literally the
He
only
was
thug
the
in that.
gangster.
Right.
Yes.
He was the only
true
one in that
gangster.
group.
Yes. And so when they started separating, he
movie.
started calling everybody out, saying, you know what, bro, I will have all you guys knocked off because I'm the only real gangster in the group,
Yep.
right? You know, Dre grew up a certain way. Ice Cube grew up a certain way. These dudes weren't in the street struggling. You know, they just went to the hood and they had people and friends that they dealt with. Like most of us, you know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up hood, but I had hood homeboys and hood cousins. So I was around the hood, right? But I wasn't a hood. I wasn't hood. I'm not hood.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but again, they're trying to tell people get out here and F the police and do this and do that. And so these kids are taking on that persona, you know what I mean? And want to live this thug lifestyle.
Well, I believe
And,
that's
it's-
also a narrative that's been pushed. Just like
I
we
do,
see,
absolutely.
we see in our news, most of our news is narrated. We're not getting the whole
Mhm.
truth, right? We're getting
Right.
it's covered up. But in our music, I mean, look at most of our artists. Most of our artists are managed by somebody else, managed by a
True.
company, and that company is telling them what to sing most of the time. There's not
Yes.
many artists that are. I mean, we got some now that with Spotify and some of the technology now, people can start doing their own studios, their own records, their own labels.
Right.
But a lot of that music in the 90s and early 2000s, man, that was managed 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that you brought that up because I was actually wanting to bring up the stabbing of that 17-year-old girl that stabbed all them horses. Have you guys read anything
what?
about that?
Yeah. that's
So-
wild.
So what happened was, and I think that this is going to transition to how she was raised, and we can get into that discussion. So a 17-year-old girl, the week before last, had a barrel racing super show. It's like one of the biggest ones in the nation, and she knew during qualifications that she was not able to compete, so she ended up stabbing 3 of the top horses.
Wow.
Just so they could not compete, thinking she was not going to get caught. Well, now she's of course in jail with no bond and all this other stuff because these are $1 million horses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But now they're in the point, just like you said, they're trying to her to get it pushed onto an adult case because it's a pretty serious deal. But like,
Yeah.
I guess my question
Wow.
is she was raised in a way where she got the most expensive horses. Mommy and daddy had money. She didn't have discipline, you know what I mean? And she out here thinking she's gonna get away with it. And now look at the consequences. I mean, she's sitting in jail right now at 17 years old for stabbing 3 horses because she threw a tantrum because she didn't think she was gonna qualify because of these horses.
That's a prime example of spoiling your kids, and that's the result of it.
100%.
Mhm.
100%.
So,
It's a really good one. If you guys get a chance
Yeah.
to look up that case, because yesterday they put in the motion to try her as an adult. And she's got 15 charges against her right now that are
Good.
all felonies. So I mean, if it sticks and they take it to a adult level, she's
She's cooked.
yeah, she's cooked
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow,
you know, I
but
think
they-
that go ahead. No, go ahead, RP.
No, I'm just gonna say just to everything that we're talking about, just to have that, not just she had no discipline, if you will, but to take it a step further to actually get the knife and to actually stab the horse.
Mhm.
That's
You're
psychotic
talking about-
behavior.
Yeah, you're talking about a huge animal,
Mhm.
a huge animal.
Oh yeah.
you
I couldn't
know,
even do
very
that.
Powerful animal, not just one, but she's in such a way she got 2, but not just 2.
3.
She got
Yeah.
3.
That's psychotic behavior.
It's a good story. You guys should read it.
Wow.
I mean, it's a horrific story, but I mean, it's
Wow.
a big deal.
If she can do that to 3 horses because of that, I mean, she could do that to a human.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. With no hesitation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 It pays to
That-
challenge your children. Give your kids challenges and not just give them everything, not hand them everything in life.
Pressure must be applied.
Yep.
Pressure must be applied. I
Mhm.
tell my kids, I listen. I'm always going to apply pressure. Always. You ain't gonna
Right.
like it. Listen, sometimes you ain't gonna like me, and that's okay. But I'm never gonna stop. I'm gonna put my foot on your neck, and I'm gonna apply some pressure. Listen, it's necessary as a kid, and as Christian said, this is a prime example.
Yes.
Life is not meant to be just given to everything that you want, to all your pleasures, at any age. At any age, it's deception. You're fooling yourself because you're not in control of your emotion. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Both
It
of those
really
stories
is.
are a
It
shame.
really is.
And for me, in my opinion, that takes away from the journey and the adventure of your kids. If you give your kid everything, they don't get to go on that adventure and build their life and experience. To me, you take that from them, and it's hard to teach your kids that in the long run because they think you're just being a dick while all their friends their parents are raising them completely different. But I mean, for me, that's really important. I mean, I'm still going to take care of my children, but I'm going to challenge my kids, and they're just not going to get anything handed to them.
Right. But that's the reason why you look at it like that, because you're a family man. You think about somebody who's a multimillionaire and who's never home. So this spoiledness comes from the lack of it comes from the lack of the father not being there, or the parents in general. You know what I mean? We watch shows all the time where, you know, my dad thinks I'm this, and the kid's so rich he's got his own black card, but his parents are never there. They're not here to discipline him. They're not here to raise him. They're letting the world raise him, and then he gets in trouble. They just back him up and cover it up. So I mean, this spoiledness comes from the lack of parenting, you know, and so I think that plays a huge role. When you're like us, we're men of fathers, we're fathers, and so we put that time and effort into our kids. We don't feel the need to spoil them with ignorant stuff or with, you know, tangible things, because we spoil them with our love and compassion and our time. You know, so it's a big difference, you know. So I'm gonna let Robert Lee's go ahead.
No, I was gonna say to add that too, you know, for everything that you're saying, you know, we set them up for a good balance to be able to deal with the world when they get out there on their own. You know, to let them think that everything is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Once you get outside them doors, you know, life will kick you right in your teeth, and you know, and keep on kicking you in your teeth. You know, if you are not
curb check you.
Curb check you, right?
Curb check you, bro.
I mean, in a heartbeat, and you know, and we'll keep on doing it. And if you are not emotionally equipped to deal with pressure to some degree, well, listen, to an immense degree, you're talking about the outside world, stuff in real life. You know, as we condition ourselves and our children for that, because we understand, you know, we're not going to be here forever. So we got to give you impart some type of knowledge and some type of instruction to build you up for that, because life is tough.
And, you know, we can tie this into what you sent us right before the podcast, Mackie, about Hermeticism.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
did you watch the video?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen that video already.
I thought, but even for him to use that because the guy was questioning, saying, well, how do I prepare myself as an American, or how does American people prepare themselves for American collapse? And he used the Hermetic philosophy. I was like, hold on, really? We just create our own reality?
I mean,
he's dead on.
Chris.
He's dead on.
Yeah.
The Hermetic philosophy is what Yeshua teaches.
Right.
When you really look at the core of it, it's what Yeshua teaches. We are all one. We are all connected. And I think he was talking about that could be the future of religion. Hermeticism is finding its way back.
It should.
And that comes from Egypt.
Necessary. It
does.
from Egypt.
And he mentioned that. Yeah, he mentioned that in the videos. I was kind of wild about that. But even the fact that during a particular collapse that could happen next 5 to 10 years, he's thinking about us thinking better about our reality. You know what I mean? And I honestly think
the return of Christ.
You know, Christ consciousness. Yeah.
Christ consciousness. That's the return of Christ. What he's talking about. We're all starting to wake up, but more people are starting to realize this.
Right.
And that's why I have hope in humanity. I don't have hope in my leaders, but I do have hope in humanity.
Right. Yeah, we would have to. I mean, I think if you didn't, one of us be sitting in prison. Because if you have no hope in humanity, then you know you'd be out there to do anything. There's nothing preventing you. You know what I'm saying? From provoking somebody. You know, kind of like the what's the guy that Chud? No, what you know? I'm talking about Chud the Builder. Have y'all heard? Chud
I've heard Bob the Builder, but not Chud the Builder.
Man, Chud the Builder had a racial podcast and was in Tennessee making some racial claims to people, and there's some areas you just don't go into with that BS.
Well, he
You
was
don't.
just because he listen. He had that iron courage on his side that
Mhm.
thought he could do anything that he wanted to do, and that's he was pretty bold with it.
Hey, and
Just,
it's
just for
beyond
having
that.
that peace.
Yeah, but
Yes.
you know what? Even there was a particular time he called law enforcement to come to a gas station because he was being threatened by
Mm-hmm.
dark skinned brothers. And the
Mm-hmm.
cops said, "Well, what do you expect?" And the
That's
chat
right.
was like, "I'm on your side." And the cops are like, "No, you're not. You're causing
right.
your own problems and calling us to assist you in your problems."
That's right.
Right? And just don't call. You can't provoke people like that. You can't. I don't care
No,
what
no.
color you are. You cannot provoke people like that and expect not to have consequences. And now this dude is probably looking at a murder case or attempted murder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no
Yes.
money, no bond, I believe, from last time I heard. So that kind of goes. People are talking about, oh, the Anthony thing is racist. Well, honestly, if our country was considerably racist in a sense, Chad would be out. He'll be off too. He wouldn't even be a bond. I mean, he would have a bond. They would let him use his GoFundMe. So I mean, when you think about the courts, is always what the defense can prove, and that's what I come down to. Sometimes you just got sorry lawyers or people that just don't know their craft well enough to prevent somebody from being executed or going to prison.
I mean, do you honestly believe that juries are randomized, randomly picked?
Oh yeah.
This one
yeah.
right
I
here
mean-
with Anthony, all white jury. That's in Frisco, Texas. A lot of people are complaining about that, criticizing that. But go ahead, Nick. My fault.
No, you're good. I'm looking up because so when it comes to a jury, I mean, it is both sides. It's not just hey, show up to court. We're sending these 12 people a letter saying show up to court.
Right.
Jury selection usually consists of about 50 people, and both sides get to argue and pick or discredit or relieve someone. So I mean, he had the opportunity, and there was African Americans. I can look at the statistics because it's online. It's public knowledge, but there was probably a few black people on that panel that they relieved because of who knows why. Because they take both sides, and both sides says we want this and this and this. Oh, this guy said this, so we want to discredit him. We don't want him on there. So I believe his lawyer had the opportunity to put some up there of color and failed to do so. Whether it was because of his belief on something they said when they asked the question, because they asked questions to him to decide. So I without going through the full jury selection, and I'm sure it's online somewhere, because they usually are, I would have to say there was a missed opportunity that lawyer just did not take, in my opinion.
And something I've known just in my life experience is I've known about a dozen people that's gotten summoned for jury duty just in my life. I know that's not that many, but every single person besides one, which was an old man, did not want to do it. They were mad. They had no desire to be on that jury. I don't know if that's for everyone.
It's not hard to get out of jurors selective. I mean,
my wife got out of it. Right.
I mean, you can get up there and say something dumb and just immediately get thrown off of it. You can go. There's a really good example online that a lawyer talks about that, where the guy said, "I can't solely commit someone to prison time on a eyewitness based whatever," and that's all he said. He didn't say anything negative, but the state only had an eyewitness testimony, and he's like, that's not enough evidence, and he didn't get selected. And then he goes on to, every time I go there, I ask him what kind of evidence they got. So, and then I'll base my responses on them, and they could be because the black one said something dumb, like, I'm not spending a week here. I got work to do. I got other crap to do besides sit on this chair for 14 days,
or I'm gonna say he's non-guilty just because he's black.
Right.
So you call on me, he's not guilty.
Right. We're gonna be we're gonna be a hung jury, and we're gonna have to go through this in another 2 weeks. So
yes,
I mean, I do think there was probably some from missed opportunities, but then again, I need
Right.
more.
You got to be strategic
Yeah.
in these things, man. Life is chess, bro. The whole world, the whole system is about chess. It is. You got to be
100%.
very strategic how you move in every way. You know what I mean? None of us abide by every single law of the land. You can't tell me. Even we speed by 5 miles an hour, you're already disobeying the
That's
law.
right.
You know
That's
what
right.
I'm
There's
saying?
laws I don't
mean,
even know
'cause-
about.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's true too. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's a game. You got to, even when you do get a ticket, you got to build it. You got to know the right statutes to get out the ticket. You know what I mean? Or but you got to
Call
follow
me-
the procedure.
Call me up, bro. I will walk you through. I will walk you through all that.
Oh,
There ain't
man.
nobody out there that can recite that blue book better than me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
So
All right. I want to welcome those who have just joined us. This podcast, Open Mic. Open Mic is where
Yes.
honest questions become meaningful conversations, and that was a dang good one right there. So I'm going to hit us with Mackey's. Go ahead.
All right, you're going to the woke question.
No, what you want to say? Go ahead, King.
All right, we'll hit it up afterwards.
You sure?
Yep.
All right. That woke question. What does peace, this from Mac, King Mac, what does peace look like for you as a man? Also, why is it important? What does peace look like you for a man? Also, why is it important?
I'll go first.
Get it?
Yes, sir.
Get it?
So peace for me as a man means that I have my house in order, my family's taken care of, I get to work out, and then I get to come home and not to listen to anyone complain, nag or anything like that. Just be at peace with my family, or just having alone time with me. Being at peace, knowing that everything is taken care of, and so I create my own peace. It's not on anyone else.
Yeah. I'll let y'all let the other two go. I'll let y'all.
That's tough.
It is tough.
I live in such chaos. That is my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Mac knows what I mean.
Right.
I live
Right.
in constant chaos and constant, hype.
That's
and
life,
alert
man. Life is
and-
chaos, brother.
Right, but I'm always on high alert. I don't know how to relax. I mean, I can relax and find peace, but it's difficult. I would
would say Nick is pretty peaceful. I've worked with Nick. I do, because I'll give you an example if he would allow. Him and I did security one weekend. It was busy, and it's so much to pay attention. I mean, you got thousands of people in and out this club, drinking, talking. You hear somebody drop a glass bottle. You're always on. You're ready. You're always ready, right? And him and I always are. But in the midst of that, he's still smiling. He's still in engagement with people. He's still building rapport. Him and I are checking on each other, going back into the group. I mean, so if I feel like if he didn't have peace, it would be more of a traumatic experience, even at the bar or at the security assignment, due to the fact that he's ready for chaos to happen. But the fact that peace is within him, peace maintained itself. So we had two or three busy nights. There was no fights. There's no fights, because I believe the peace there within the officers who stood their grounds overcome the chaos that was around us. If that makes sense.
I get that. That was good. That was good. I'll give you that. That was good.
Yeah, I love working with this dude. Law enforcement, security, I love, because him and I are both level-headed and we both have peace. And crap is going on. People are fighting, even if people do fight, or I can't say they fight. They start to, and start an altercation, right? And it's not to that point yet. Him and we're already on it. We're already aware of what's going on before it even gets to that point.
Anything.
But
We
see,
don't.
peace looks different on different people.
And it absolutely does.
Yeah.
But I could say this brother right here has peace. I could say every brother on here has peace, but
Right.
even just in the chaotic situations that we have been in, even with law enforcement, which I hadn't been in a whole lot of chaotic situations with Nick and law enforcement, but I could see and believe that he would have the ability to maintain a level head.
I mean, you got to.
I appreciate that,
That's right.
King. Really, I do.
You got to.
I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
more of an inner
That's right.
thing than
Mhm.
anything.
It is.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it is.
It is.
That's right.
Peace
It
is
is.
not something for someone else to see on
Right.
you.
That's
Mhm.
exactly right.
Peace
That's
is,
exactly
is within you. But for me, I mean, to add on, I have a hard time finding peace because how I was raised. And for me, like if I want to relax, man, I have such a hard time doing it because every time I slow down or doing something that's not work, there's a voice in my head saying you're lazy,
You
you're
get up.
this, you're that,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
And so it has been hard for me personally to find peace because every time I do sit down and try to be peaceful or have my style of peace, I just hear that voice in my head. You're lazy. You're not doing anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever have that problem.
From a,
No. Yeah.
yeah, for me, I have an affirmation that I say daily, and it is I am self-disciplined in all areas of my life. Now that is extreme, however, and I know that I cannot be self-disciplined in all areas of my life, but for those that I can be, I try to be as disciplined as I can. And so what that does, it allows me to create focus, if you will. And through that focus, I'm able to gain peace. And through that peace, to everything that you guys are talking about, it starts with from within myself. And so if I'm peaceful, I can only control my surrounding area, myself and what's around me. And so if I'm peaceful, that peace, eludes from me and spreads to my family. And so that space is peaceful. You understand what I'm saying? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't
100%.
control
Yeah,
everything.
100%.
I can't control everything, but it starts with me. And as you guys are saying, it starts from within yourself. If you can
Mhm.
have the inner peace within yourself and believe in that, it spreads over into everything. And so if I'm peaceful, then I know my family's peaceful. And so
Yeah.
yeah,
And to add on to that, RP, I think peace is it's really important to have peace is to have self confidence.
sure,
Um, I don't think if you have confidence in yourself, you're not going to find peace within yourself.
I
I
agree
can
with
agree
that.
with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think peace is necessary for, and like Christopher said, it really depends on categories. As a man, what is your peace? As a husband, as a father, as a business owner, as law enforcement, as veterans, you know what I mean? So, and like Robert's talking about different categories, right, of peace or in all aspects of his life, I think that's where, the full-fledged connection comes in at. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So you might have peace as a father, but you might not have peace as a husband because you're dealing with
Yes,
things with your wife. You might
yes.
have peace as a husband, but you might not have peace in your business because you're dealing with, people, disgruntled employees. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And
Hmm.
so, and what Robert's even saying too is that he's looking to build that full spectrum of peace,
Right.
But I tell my family, and it's kind of an affirmation to a sense, is that man, there was a tornado blowing right above us. I feel like my family and I can get in the corner and we could laugh, we could smile, and we can have a good moment. We really could. We
Hmm.
really could because through my piece, through my wife's piece, it's going to calm the kids down. And so, even if that was our end moment, even if that was the last time we would see each other, I believe at that moment we could have full peace and we can go into the next transition with a smile on our face
Well,
Yes,
because we're all together.
you
that's
speak
right,
on
man. Go ahead, RP.
I'm sorry, the different categories, and so those categories are ever changing. Like
Mm-hmm.
today is going to be something different. The next day is going to be
Mm-hmm.
something different.
Yeah.
But I have to be able to allow myself to shift that confidence, if you
Right.
will, and that
Right.
easygoingness to be able to adjust to that. Because it's not always going to be the same. I mean, I got a big
Right.
family, and then to deal with them and to deal with other people, so I got to be ever
Mm-hmm.
changing, if you will,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be able to be
Elevating.
peaceful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
100%.
Yes. You have to self elevate. I mean, you have to self evaluate yourself every day because you said
day.
it changes.
Yes.
You had a hard time at work, but then you come home to the family. You got to be
Yes.
able to pick up that piece at the door. If not, your hard work at your problems at work will start to get into your home. And that happens a whole lot, even with
Yes,
law
it does.
enforcement. A lot of law enforcement officers, we have a hard time leaving the job at home. And we bring it, I mean, leaving the job at work, and then we bring it home. Look, we and we bring it home, and it
Yeah.
causes chaos. We
Yeah.
cause our own chaos.
Yeah.
I'll let Nick come in. Nick's got something to say.
Listen, after almost 15 years, I think this is a good time to bring up men's mental health. Just because of that statement there, I've seen a lot of stuff in my career, and you guys probably don't know about all the Missouri laws that we have, but we can't speak to anybody outside of the PD about what we saw 90% of the time. We can't come home and tell our wives and our loved ones, hey, this is what happened today, and I'm down. where you just can't. I mean, so you have to establish that, whether word or phrase or, hey, I had a rough day at work, and she knows that it wasn't just something simple, you ran 1,000 calls, and that's hard to establish, and men's health anymore is so overlooked. It's not even funny. I went through something very tragic 3 years ago now, and it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve to get out there and have to sit down and speak to someone about how I'm doing mentally, and being that vulnerable in this position where I have to be a very, tough guy, a where's squirrel away that can handle stuff on the fly. And it was a huge adjustment. It took me almost a year to be able to talk about just an eighth of what, my problems were. And then now, I've grown on to, I'm dealing with stuff from my childhood and stuff that my brother passing and stuff like that I never knew truly affected me until I was able to let that face that head on and open that portion that I've pushed so far down for my whole life. I do believe mental health, especially with men nowadays, is a must. And it's men aren't going to take it. Men aren't going to be for it the first few times they go. They want to give up on it. And I'm just going to tell you, if you're listening now, just stick with it. If you're going through anything that is difficult, don't hesitate to reach out. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to one of us. I mean, in the chat, we will. I'll more than glad call you and listen to what you got going on.
Listen, and I'll piggyback off that. From being in the military and being through some extreme and catastrophic things, to an extent, the burden is heavy to carry because you can't just talk to anyone about anything.
Right.
First of all, just the law enforcement and the military experience altogether, just the basics. The civilians don't understand that, let alone you toss in the extreme situations. Who you going to talk to? You can't talk to those things about your wife. You can barely internalize it yourself to get it out of your mouth to even be able to speak it.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
So it's it's you're dead on. It's something, as far as
I got a question with that.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean to rush you, Robert. Go ahead. I just have a question.
I was done.
Before that question,
go ahead.
I just want to, with everything we're talking about, I think this is something we should recognize, that no man should do their life alone. I think every man, you don't have to have a big group or circle, but you need to find somebody that you can lean on. And also that person can lean on you at the same time. You can't be that tough. Ain't nobody a lone wolf. I know everybody wants to act like a lone wolf and put that lone wolf jacket on and look at me, but sorry, every guy needs somebody. No matter how big and how tough you are, everybody needs somebody.
And that's basically my question, Christopher. You must have been in my brain on that one. It's just, can men be vulnerable? And if, can we be vulnerable, or can you be vulnerable at home? But from what I'm hearing, no, because it's difficult. Like Robert said, it's difficult to even correlate it yourself, right? To even to put the pinpoint it yourself, but then to try to explain it to your wife, right? Who's not in law enforcement, who's not a veteran, right? Or explain it to somebody, so I mean, that's a good point. I mean, can we be vulnerable? Are we allowed to be vulnerable? And then if we are, with who?
You can't be vulnerable with your locker room friend. I mean, what
right?
I'm comparing that to
significant other.
I'm comparing that to locker room talk.
Okay.
You can't, the guy that you're playing sports with, that, to me, I'm just using that as an example. You're shooting the shit. He's making fun of you. Most of the time, that's not the guy that you're gonna spill the beans on. You need to find somebody that's not going to judge you when you start talking. You need to find another king to talk to.
Yeah, it's something, because the experience that you feel in it was traumatic, so it made an impression on you mentally and psychologically. So, and most unless they have expertise, most people are not going to even understand what you are even talking about, let alone feel and comprehend what you've even been through to give you any type of response that's going. And I may be wrong.
Nah, you're hitting it on the head.
Go ahead.
you're such a tough person. The problem is when it goes to speaking, like you said, like I couldn't go to another department. You know, you don't want to show that vulnerable state. It goes back to what Mackie's saying. You don't want to be vulnerable. You are an alpha male. You are out here to handle business and go. So ties into what Chris, you can't have that locker room talk. You know, you gotta put on this facade of, nah, I'm good. But at home, you're crying, you're weeping,
right.
you're trying not to completely break down and lose it all. But no, it's you have to find someone. Like I drive an hour and 20 minutes away just to go talk about my, because it ain't never going to get back here. You know what I mean? It ain't going to get back to my town. What I'm doing.
I say none of us should have that problem now.
Oh,
Out
yeah.
of us
We
four,
got each other.
we
Yeah,
got each other, man.
Yeah.
So any
Yeah.
one of you guys ever have something, just give me a call. It don't matter what time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I feel like
listen-
this gotten better. This gotten better.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This gotten better
Yes.
for me. It's gotten better for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
We're getting
I feel
on
like
some sappy stuff. Come on. Listen, we're gonna start breaking it down here.
No, this is good.
I
though.
know.
I was gonna say,
Hold up.
you
See,
know,
that's
it's like-
that's what I'm talking about, though. That's what
Right.
that's the locker room talk idea, right?
And it's no
Yeah.
disrespect to your spouses or to your girlfriends, anything like that. It's no disrespect at all to them, because that to some degree you are shielding them from, or it feels like you're shielding them from some of the thoughts that can be scary if you let those things out.
Yeah.
They may view you because you're scared. They may view you differently from what you say and how you interpret those feelings and how that makes you feel. Be like, well,
But that's
Mama.
right? Right.
You did
that's-
what in the military?
Yeah.
What?
and that brings up another good point with your spouses. Like, you have to explain to them, and it's gonna make them feel like they can't help you. It's gonna make them feel useless because they can't help you through what you're going through, and that's where your relationship dynamic has to really grow from that point in time, because they can't help you through it. You can't talk them. You're not allowed to talk to them. You can't. All they can do is sit there. And when you're having your nightmares or your breakdowns, all they can do is sit there and be present. And that conversation is a very hard one to have. Like, I just need you to sit there. You can't know what's going on, but I just be there for them. Be there. Let me cry it out. Let me. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Yeah. And we have random questions and shit to ask or something today.
Yeah, we do. All right, but hey, that was
It's deep though.
Yeah,
It's good. It's good, man. It's good.
But you know what? That's what we need though. Do you know what I mean? My brother, one of my brothers came to me and said something. He was like, man, me and my wife, I had a dream. He had a dream that him and his wife were on a plane, and the plane started to go down. And his wife grabbed him and said, baby, hold me. And she was on his right, and he looked to his left, and there was nobody there he could grab because he's scared too. He's about to die. Also, he feels the same way she does, but he's got to ignore his feelings now and protect hers. You know what I'm saying? And so, and what's that picture of the man that's got the globe on his back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got one of those at the gym.
Yeah.
Bro, I know you do. I know you do. But that's real though. Because we carry the weight. I mean, even though the woman is the creator of all things, I believe, right? But we still carry the weight of even protecting her and protecting the child and everything that's around it and the kingdom. I tell my wife all the time, I'm the general. I'm not necessarily the king. I'm the general, right?
That's what men are.
I stand on the right hand of God, which is my wife, and I make sure that anybody walks up that she's protecting, that my kids are protected, right? You have to answer to me before you can answer to her or get an answer from her.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what masculinity is for.
But yeah, I'm with you, bro. Like, do I have to get in the mirror sometimes in the bathroom and look myself in the eyeballs into my soul and evaluate myself and cry and yell? I do. Getting in the car sometimes, it's just like, I mean, and I'm good. I go hit the gym and I'm good.
and
Yes.
drive, turn on your
Yes.
music, let it out,
Yes, and go.
Right.
And go.
Yeah.
And go.
Yeah.
But if I can call Robert, if I can call Nick, if I can call Christopher, here's the thing about it. I might not even get off on what I mean. I might not even get a chance to communicate my issues to these 3 brothers right here. I got 4 or 5 brothers. But sometimes hearing what they go through makes you realize, like, bro, you tripping.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tripping,
Right.
bro.
Yeah.
You over here
Exactly.
tripping about
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they just
Right.
went through that. When I hear Nick's story sometimes, I'm like, man, how can you really put yourself in that shoes? And so when I look at my situation, I'm like, bro, you better stop tripping. Get up, get up, and go. Because
But-
it's nothing.
No, I get what you're saying with that, but another perspective to have with that line of thinking is the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you,
True.
Yeah. I get
right?
That is
And
true.
so, like,
Mhm.
you know, you might have a brother that he might have gone through something worse than you think it is, right?
Mhm.
He's gone through and overcame it, but that was for him. And what you went through, it's the worst thing. It's like having a spoiled
Right.
girl,
That's right.
and she get her popsicle taken away from her on the playground. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to her. So for her life is ending.
Mhm.
But that's the
Right.
perspective she has. So her perspective with that event is no different than your perspective of, say, what's a bad, like your dad beating you to the pulp, right?
Right. Right.
They're both bad. One we can weigh and say that's worse, but in the perspective of the person experiencing it, it's not any worse.
Right. Right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are called life experiences. Life
Yes.
experiences.
And some people
So-
have more some than others. It doesn't make
Absolutely.
you better.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right, Kings. All right, Kings. All right, Nick. We're gonna get into these,
All right,
these
bet.
rapid fire questions. Rapid fire questions. All right.
Rock
for
and
those who
roll,
just
rock and
joined us-
roll.
For those who are just joining us, Brothers Many Words, we open mic, real conversation, real experience, spoken with purpose. We're about to get into these rapid fire questions. All right. Number one. We'll start with you, King Mac, and then King Nick, and then King Chris, and we'll move like that. All right.
10-4.
One at a time. Here we go. 30 seconds. Number one. What makes you angry?
Oh.
Come on.
Man.
Come on.
Disrespect. Disrespect. And it's not even that, but I call it
Well,
that.
what is it? You say it?
Well, bro, harming my family, disrespecting my family, I would say that'll probably really make me upset. Disrespecting
Gotcha.
me, it's okay. I deal with it. You know what I mean? Law enforcement, security, I deal with it. But when you get my family involved, or you trying to play my family, like you can play me all day, and I'm gonna see right through you. And my family is too. But if it brings any type of harm or regret to my family, where they're tears or they're upset, then you're gonna make me upset. You're gonna make
What
me
you
upset.
got, Nick? What you got, Nick?
I mean, you took what I was gonna say. Family, like don't mess with my family.
Don't tread on my family, bro.
I'm gonna be judged by 12. I promise you that.
Yeah. What you
Yes.
got? What you
Yes.
got,
I
Chris?
don't care.
What you got, Chris?
Yes.
I'm with you guys on family, but I'd have to say freedom.
Mm.
When I feel my freedom is being impinged, when it's starting to be taken away, it fires me up.
Well, we
I
need
get-
to start
I
something
get so
right
mad.
now,
There you
Chris. We need to start
Right.
something right
That's
now
right.
because
That's right.
it's every day is being taken away.
I don't like to feel constricted. I have
feel you.
extreme
Yeah.
claustrophobia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you, I'm with agreement with all three of you. Mine, but I'm gonna keep it simple. Mine is smacking. When somebody is smacking.
Oh.
I just
Yeah.
want to just
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Hey,
That's true, man.
I almost thought about chewing this gum, but I knew I would be smacking on the.
Yeah, I'd rather get punched than smacked.
Oh
Oh,
my God!
my
Listen,
goodness.
my boy, he sits right next to me at the table, and he'll get the crunching on some chips, and I'll just be like,
You don't close your mouth when you
"What's
shoot.
up?
Right.
Doing right now."
That's a good
All right.
one. That's a good one.
Number
Nice.
two. What's the kindest thing you have ever done for someone else? What's the kindest thing you have ever done for someone else? What you got, Nick?
Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
No,
Go
it's
ahead,
Matt.
Matt. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
giving myself to my wife. I feel like that was because again, that's a difficult thing to do. You got to trust, you have to love, you have to give up so much of yourself. Business, bank account, the wife's originally owner. I had to give up a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's not something that I normally do. I like to rule and control and dominate. And my wife basically said at one time, "You need to stop and you need to let me help you." And so I had that, even though that's maybe not considered a kindness thing to people, but it was in my book. It was.
Info. What you got, Nick?
Anything to do with my community. If I can make my community better and help someone in my community, that's where it's at.
I can stand on that.
Yes.
I can stand on that.
What you got, Chris?
Giving a stranger my time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the kindest thing you can do.
For me, it was I was in the oil and gas industry, and so I was on my way, leaving location on my way back to a different city, and I stopped at this Pizza Hut to get a pizza. I ordered the pizza and came out. And there was an empty building right adjacent to it, and inside, underneath the shed or the roof, if you will, was a gentleman there. And so I just happened to glance over there, and he was homeless. He was living there. He had all his clothes and everything out, and it looked really tough, man. And so it just hit me. It just hit me. So I was getting ready to pull off, and I turned around, and I got out, and I gave that young man my pizza I just bought. And Kylie, he was so grateful and so thankful. He started crying, and God bless you, and all those things. And I got back in driving, and I'm crying on the way to where I'm going. It just it did me good. I really looked.
It made you feel good, right?
It made me feel good, man. I loved that.
Yeah.
Being
Let me
kind
give a
to
homeless
others.
story. Let
Yeah,
me
go
give my
ahead.
homeless story. Because that's a valid point. I was in Seattle. I got Call of Duty Security in Seattle, and this was the time frame where the police department was defunded on the homeless side. And so about 50 of us security officers all over the United States were flown out to provide security for homeless facilities like in ballet halls and schools or large auditoriums, whatever the case may be. We couldn't call law enforcement to help us before the fact that that part of the agency was defunded, right? And so I started talking to homeless people right there. And what I did, I started keeping journals. I started asking questions, and they were number one, I was the only security officer that ever talked to them. And number two, they were just thankful that somebody was willing to hear their story. And you'd be surprised
Yes, sir.
why some people were homeless because they literally wanted to be and really had money had money. But yet again, I think that was huge, and I still have that book to today, and I probably interviewed about 50 to 60 homeless people, and they gave me some good advice. You'd be surprised.
That's
Wow.
beautiful, King. That's beautiful. Okay, question number three. If your hands could talk, what story would they tell about what you survived? If your hands could talk, what story would they tell about what you survived?
Man.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll
Yeah.
go first. I'll tell you what, mine would have to be handcuffed, wrapped in masking tape, put in black boxes with airplanes, and put away. They can never talk. They could never talk.
Wow.
Never talk.
Wow.
Never talk.
I said you got us speechless on that one.
I don't, bro, listen.
Yeah, you got us speechless on that one.
If your hands could talk, what story would they tell about what you survived?
So if you cut them off,
No, I
is
said
that
cut
like
them off.
loophole?
Huh?
Like if I cut them off, is that like a loophole where like they don't have to?
Well,
Could you
yeah,
cut
I
'em
guess
off?
so. I guess that'd be a loophole.
I mean,
I would say for me, the closest thing to that story would be the Master Chief story. If anyone out there is into Halo.
come on.
Oh, the Master Chief. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one.
If you understand his childhood and all that stuff.
Right.
Man, I'm still.
What you got,
like,
Matt? What you got, King Matt?
Man,
Bro.
you know what?
That's a hard. That's a long.
That's a good one. That's a
It
really
is.
good one. My
It is
hand,
a
but
good one.
we've been through a lot. You know what I'm saying? We've
Yeah.
been through a lot. You know what I mean? But you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you this. I grew up fighting. I grew up fighting, and so my hands was all I had. And then like I said, I didn't really grow up in the hood, but the hood was just right around the corner from me. You know what I mean? And so when it came down to being able to survive and protect myself, it was necessary. My dad knew and taught us from ground up to do that. And so man, it there's a lot behind that. There's blood, there's sweat and tears that are left on these hands. And I'm like Robert, they need to be locked away. They need to be locked away and put into isolation, never spoken of again.
I'm gonna rephrase that to my one word answer: servitude.
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 What What you got, Nick? What you got, Nick?
I'm just gonna. I don't know. They just say I survived.
Nick's hand should be locked away too.
Yeah.
His shit should be buried. His should be buried 6 feet. I guarantee you that 6 feet.
Like, listen, bro, you got me messed up today.
He's talking about cutting them off. He's like, can I just cut them off?
Right. Like, put that.
Oh man. Okay. Question.
Oh my goodness.
Question number 4. Question number 4. What never fails to make you laugh? What never fails to make you laugh?
Life. Yeah, life.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
you're
life.
quit stealing my shit. Listen,
Bruh, hey, Draymond stink alike, bro.
Right.
Draymond stink
I mean,
alike.
it really is life. I mean, just
Right.
people in general. I mean, honestly, because I'm a people watcher, I will sit
Yes.
back in a room with
Yes.
1,000 people, and I walk,
Yes.
and that's where it's
Yeah.
at right there.
Yeah. What you got,
when
King
you-
Chris?
Same thing. It's life.
Life.
Everything
Yeah.
about it. And actually, the older I get, the funnier it gets.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm in agreement with all 3 of you. Yeah, but I'm gonna say this too, and I love this. I love scaring the hell out of people. I love it. I love it. I love seeing
Yeah.
people jump. I love the way their body moves all different kind of ways. I love to hear them scream. I absolutely love scaring. That's
We wouldn't be friends, Robert. We
Don't snake up on me.
Right.
Snake up on me.
I've seen something like that. There was a guy dressed up as a snow cone on it. I think I watched his FTO class, and he had a snow cone or something, and he was just standing there, and he would scare people. And people, some people
Drop.
bowled him. Some people had
Drop.
good reactions where they bowled
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Some people dropped the ice cream and Starbucks
Yeah.
coffee, was upset about what happened, but it was kind of funny though.
Yeah,
I mean,
Nah,
first of all, you
you're
got a
catching-
stuffed
you're catching
ice
the
cream
band.
cone
Right.
on the sidewalk. If
Right.
that don't draw your attention, I don't know what does.
There's one called Texas Bushman. Texas Bushman. Watch him. He dresses up as a
Yeah, I've seen that's all over TikTok. Yeah, listen,
Yeah,
I
man,
will
he scares the
knock
mess out
that
of
bush out. I promise you. You get that like that. You catch a hand.
Oh, right. Okay, last one, Kings. Last one. You're gonna love this one. Last one. Your wife or girlfriend has to lose one. Teeth or ass cheeks?
Teeth.
Teeth, yeah. That's a benefit anyway. That's still a benefit. Yeah, that's still a benefit.
That's
You're like-
too easy.
Yeah. I'm going with teeth too. I'm going with teeth too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
Oh, look, somebody chimed in. He's not lying.
Oh man.
Oh
No,
my
that was
goodness.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was too good.
That was a good one.
That was.
That was a good one.
Oh man.
Oh man. Okay, Kings. Okay, Kings. Let's see. We got the listening chair. The listening chair. We got who's that in the was that a man? She said, "Oh, he's not lying, driving us crazy with his scanners." I love it, man. I love to see people jump. He's so entertained watching people get scared. Absolutely makes my day. Makes me happy. Not the devil.
Yeah.
All right,
No.
King, you got that spotlight?
I do have the spotlight. So, a spotlight for today on Brother Many Words is the White Panther Party. I had no idea they even existed. So let's have a discussion about it. So the White Panther Party was a racial, anti-racist, anti-capitalist organization founded in 1968 in response to and support of the Black Panther Party. Despite its name, it was not a white supremacy group. In fact, it was created by the white activists who believe white America should support Black liberation movements and challenge systematic racism. The White Panther Party was founded in 1968 by John Sinclair and Leon Sinclair and Lawrence Pundon, or Ann Arbor. The group formed shortly after the arrest of John Sinclair for possession of marijuana. Members believe the legal system unfairly target activists and countercultured figures. Relationship with Black Panthers. The White Panther Party was inspired by statements from Huey P. Newton, who argued that white radicals should organize within the white communities rather than attempt to join Black organizations. The White Panther Party publicly supported Black liberation, civil rights, anti-war movements, women's liberation, prison reform, marijuana legalization, and revolutionary social change. The motto was often summarized as support the Black Panthers, end racism, and fight oppression. The 10-point program. So the White Panthers developed a program called for free food, free housing, free healthcare, free education, community control of institutions, and end of racism and economic exploitation. Um, like many racial groups or radical groups of the era, the White Panthers attracted attention from the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Members were surveilled during the era of the FBI's controversial Cohen Pro operations, which monitored and disrupted various activist organizations. By the early 1970s, the organization began moving away from the name White Panther Party. Many members left the name, created confusion. The group eventually evolved into the Rainbow People's Party, which emphasized broader multicultural and community organizations. All right. So the White Panther Party was a radical anti-racist organization founded in 1968 by white activists who supported the Black Panther Party. Despite the name, they were not white supremacists. They advocated for civil rights, anti-war activism, economic justice, and community organization. Closely connected to Detroit's rock and roll or rock music scene through the band MC5, the group became part of the broader counterculture movement of the late 1960s. By the 1970s, they evolved into a Rainbow People's Party and largely disappeared as a national force. But they remain an interesting example of interracial political solidarity through one of America's most turbulent eras. So our spotlight for today is the White Panther Party.
Never even heard that. That's a good one.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
never
Chris
heard of
and
him
Nick.
either.
All right, Chris and Nick, you guys better start you up. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm out here doing my part. All right. Don't.
No, I looked,
Yes, no, hey, you are, bro. Y'all are. Hey, hey.
I looked them up, and I did a little bit of reading on them, and I think I think this is a little kind of wild to tie it in, but at the same time, this was in the 60s when psychedelics, right, were very popular. And if you look at what their goals were with basically trying to create a utopia, free everything, free house care, free healthcare, free food, all this stuff. And when you think about it, these people, they were using psychedelics. And at the same time, our own government started the MK Ultra program with psychedelics, but they were making these drugs illegal. They didn't want the population to have access to these things because they open up people's minds.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've definitely heard that. And I even to add on to what Chris is saying, during the 1960s, you had these big, what was it? What were they called? What were they called? Big conventions of music people came out to. You know what I'm saying, though?
I do. Yeah. The festivals, the music festivals.
The festivals, yes, the music festivals. And you had people who were against the wars and things like that. But one thing that deterred people from that was when they introduced heroin into the area. When they introduced heroin, and that came out around 1970, 1972, was heroin was introduced. And once heroin was introduced, that unity was broken up. You know what I mean? It's like every time we look to come together in some shape, form, or fashion, something comes in to disrupt that. You know what I mean?
I'd have to look at the heroin. The heroin was actually more of a problem because heroin's not a natural drug. It has to be synthesized.
Absolutely.
And but the psychedelics, heroin is a major psychedelic when we synthesize it into that drug. But these things they were opening up people's minds, and I know this by experience. I know 100% when I used when I went through my mushroom trip. It made me a 100% more compassionate person. It opened my mind up, and I see people completely different now. And the government did not want that to happen. That's why these things are illegal.
Kings, that was a great podcast, Kings. That was really, really good. Closing remarks, gentlemen. Closing remarks.
Love you guys. Appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Yep. Love every one of you. All right. For the audience, thank you guys for joining Open Mic. Drop your thoughts and your comments. Share this with someone who values meaningful conversation. And join us next Wednesday as we continue to build through wisdom, experience, and purpose. King Chris, take us on out, brother.
All right, guys, as always, we have our 3 core pillars: faith, trust in your own power, believe deeply in your purpose, build unshakable confidence through action; dedication, show up when no one's watching; stand firm in your commitment to grow, put in the reps mentally, physically, and daily. And that brings us to discipline, forge your character through consistency, set your code and follow it without compromise, control your impulses, and command your results.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.